sure we completely redesigned our performance management, making sure that it's now really a modern, following modern practices. Then we'll talk about feedback culture. There are some new tools in Gecko available that help companies build a strong feedback culture. Thirdly, we'll cover setup wizards. That's something more interesting for admins. Basically, there's new wizards available in Gecko, guiding them in customizing, adjusting Gecko to fit their needs in a very user-friendly way. And then employee and manager self-service, which is a core feature of Gecko from the beginning, but there are some nice new touches to it that we want to present. And then in the end, what's coming up in the next few months, and Q&A for you to ask questions, which you can already enter in the chat option in Zoom throughout the session. Okay, so let's start with the first topic, performance management. And here we are not talking about reviews only, actually far from that. I want to show you some features that go beyond that and really support continuous, transparent performance management throughout the year. So like I said, that's been a topic that we spent quite some time on recently. And we really investigated best practices of performance management. And we made sure that the new solution for performance management is based on that. So just to mention a few before jumping into the tool and showing you all of this in live demo. What are the core practices that we want to build in Gecko? Is that performance is managed every day. So it's not once per year like traditional performance reviews, but Gecko really supports ongoing conversations between manager and employee throughout the year in a nice way. Secondly, we covered the fact that goals are agile, they're not static. So they change throughout the years, and Gecko really supports that. So there's it's possible to change them with the history lock in behind. We focus also on the fact that performance is not just evaluation, it's not just measuring how somebody is doing, but also developing them. That's one of the core principles of modern performance management. So Gecko is covering both performance and development. And lastly, we really made sure to use the latest technological innovations in Gecko in performance management, from nudges helping managers and employees to participate in those practices, to analytics and AI. Really, we build them in to support all of these processes in performance management. So basically, what we got to is that Gecko is now really a complete system to grow talent. There are different aspects, different features that companies can pick and choose based on their current state, or their needs, or their vision in performance management. So Gecko is covering more like traditional formal reviews like performance and career talks, goal management, but also newer practices that are proven to be beneficial, like one-on-one talks, feedbacks, continuous feedbacks throughout the year, competency management, onboarding, 360 assessments, to analytics, that I want to also show today in performance dashboard. But you may ask, okay, how does that look like work in practice? Just to show an example, how all of these tools come to life for, let's say, for an employee or for a manager in a year. So how does Gecko support them throughout the year? That's an example of a cycle for one company, but it's each company can build, can put all of those blocks into a cycle that fits their needs. But there are still some more formal events like performance talk, career talk, beginning, middle of the year. There's still goal setting. In this example, for example, you see a yearly goal setting and evaluation, but Gecko, of course, supports also quarterly or a quarterly goal setting, or maybe every half a year and so on. So that's we renewed all of these former processes, but added the important ones to the pictures, like one-on-one talks that happen more often, let's say once a month or every 2 months. And those are not that formal and are initiated by employee or manager. Feedbacks that really support all of those more formal processes by providing additional input, and performance dashboard. That's also a tool that's available throughout the year to provide insights so that managers and employees don't talk about just based on their feelings, but also actually use some real data to support their conversations. But now I want to jump to the tool to show you all of these elements in a live demo, so you can get a better grip on it. I will log into Gecko as Bill Adams, who is a manager. And let's work on a hypothetical scenario. Let's say that Bill has been on holidays for some time, or maybe he has quite a large team, and now he's back. He, of course, want to check in with all of his employees, but he's curious on what's been going on and wants to look at the data on how they are doing, on their goals, on their development. So to basically get a picture of what's going on. So he could go to Gecko, and maybe let's start with, because he's meeting with Anne, one of his employees today. He would look at her performance dashboard just to get that first feeling of what's been going on. So let's walk through that dashboard to see what actually he sees there. So performance dashboards, it's really an overview of what's happening with Anne in terms of her performance goals, development goals, one-on-one talks. He also see a timeline of important events that's been going on for her in the last months and what's coming up. And he also sees how Anne has been engaging in feedback recently. So let's look at the data. So what does Bill see here? So in terms of goals, he immediately sees that Anne, basically there's some attention needed with regards to her goals, because some goals are either at risk or stuck or are falling behind. Actually, on her performance timeline, he immediately also sees that one of her goals had a deadline in the past, so it's overdue, and obviously set status at risk. So he already got an idea of that. He sees that she's 62% of her goals are completed. It's all they have a yearly cycle, so it's almost end of the year. So apparently, I'm not sure, but she is not sure, but maybe she needs some help in getting to the finish line here. Development goals are obviously going well. She's growing strong. She has no stuck goals. So apparently something's been going on here. So seeing that, he wants to dig into more details to see what's going on, and he can directly from dashboard get to the goal screen in Gecko to get more insights. So from dashboard, which is an overview, we drilled down to a screen that's reserved for goals. So that's a separate process in Gecko where employees and managers set their goals. Gecko is guiding them through the whole process from setting goals, achieving goals, evaluating goals, and so on. And here, Bill sees basically the full list of Anne's goals. Some are completed, some are on track. Here's probably the one that's causing this need attention category. He can also see some details here, and that it's overdue, and that also Anne commented recently that she has some challenges and so on. But that's definitely something that he wants to explore further on. Okay, going back to the dashboard, or maybe just mentioning here as well that in Gecko it's very easy also to see the whole history of previous goals and so on from past years. Also, Gecko, maybe to mention, is that Gecko is supporting really measurable goals. So here I can see if I want to add more, I can add performance or development goals, and also different types of goals. So making sure that these goals are not just smart, but are really measurable. Let's say if I add percentage goals, I can actually put in some values that help me track that goal throughout the year. Okay, but going back to the dashboard. So probably these goals, this goal that is at risk is something that Bill will check on when he meets Anne. And actually, there's a feature in Gecko that supports this kind of check-ins. That's one-on-one talks and he can of course see that he and Anne, they are having talks, those one-on-one talks regularly, so her health is strong. He can also see what they agreed on when they met the last time. But let's say that he wants to add that goal that is at risk to the agenda for the next one-on-one, to check in on that topic specifically. So basically, he would either open the last one-on-one talk to see what they agreed on here. The next one's already scheduled, as I can see, and he can easily add, let's say, that to the talking points. And so on. So actually nice is that Gecko also suggests some other talking points, for example, for to get some inspiration, or if to remind me as a manager what to talk about more. For example, I can add that suggestion because I want to share some good feedback with Anne on the next meeting. So I'm already showing you a next element in performance management. That's one-on-one talks. That's this more informal tool for managers and employees to use throughout the year and really add important takeaways, so that in the end of the year, for example, when evaluation comes or when that formal performance talk comes, they have some data already in the system, like a history log of all important events or moments or feedbacks that they've discussed throughout the year in one place. Back to performance dashboard. So one of the things is this performance timeline. That's a good tool for Bill as well, where he sees, for example, the last and can access the last one-on-one talk. He can see that goal that's at risk. Also that, and apparently in his absence, attended a training, so he might want to check in on that one. And what's coming up. So they already have a performance talk planned in the future, and he can see that's in employee prepare status. So employee is already preparing. So let's look at that element or that feature of performance talk, of performance management in Gecko, which is also a separate process that can be used completely separately from other tools that I've showed now. And that performance talk, it's designed in a way that it's really drives a holistic discussion between manager and employee, so that they really sit down and talk about, okay, what's been happening in the past year, what am I proud of, what am I good about, what do I need to improve, and so on. So to support that, Gecko guides employees and managers through like kind of a reflection preparation before that meeting. There are some questions in those sections. So in employee self-reflection, for example, employees ask about their most significant accomplishments. A manager is asked about, how has employee contributed to team goals. But these questions are totally customizable. So each company, you can decide what to and how many questions do you want to add to the reflection. So yeah, Bill sees that Anne has already done some preparation reflection. He's already added some of his answers as well. But yeah, he also needs to, as part of performance talk, need to assess competencies. So the employee has already assessed them, but once he adds his ratings as well, he would be able to see a nice chart. Maybe let's look at the previous performance talk that's already closed and we have all the data in. Like this one, where he can easily see, what are the ratings that employee put in and what are his ratings and where are the biggest discrepancies, so they can talk about that. And another important preparation for performance talk is also feedbacks that Nell will talk about more in detail. But yeah, Gecko really ensures that performance talk is not just a discussion between manager and employee, but it's supporting manager in getting insights, inputs from other people in the company that employee worked with. So he can ask for feedback from various people and see it here to include in the feedback that he will give to the employee in the meeting. Nice feature is also AI, which summarizes all these feedbacks for manager to have a quick summary of what other people said about Anne. But as I mentioned, Nell will share more about feedbacks very soon. So what I maybe want to mention here is also this user guide that you have been seeing on all of the screens that I showed so far. That's a nice feature in Gecko that's basically making sure that all of these tools are not just perceived just as forms, but basically also have some guides. next to them to give some tips or content or guidance to employees and managers on how to actually use all of these tools to bring the biggest impact. And they are, of course, fully customizable. So Gecko comes with some predefined guides, but you can customize them to your and maybe add some links to your guides, to some videos, or maybe just change the text to make it more relevant for you. Yeah, so basically to complete this story, so Bill has in just a few moments got a picture, got a grip on Anne's performance, so he's prepared for the next one-on-one check-in. He would probably do the same for other team members. So for example, let's jump to performance dashboard of Alice, where the picture is a little bit different, right? The metrics on those widgets are a little bit different because the status here is different. So he can also prepare for the check-in with Alice, or maybe the check-in with Aston, where more, for example, the picture is totally different. So he's doing well on goals, but maybe he needs some encouragement in his development. And the sad thing is that basically also the one-on-one talk health metric here is weak. So Bill might consider scheduling some one-on-one talks with this employee. And lastly, what I want to show is when he's a manager, but he's also an employee. So when he logs into Gecko, he can see all of these metrics, basically, well, 3 of these metrics already on his home screen. So these are kind of little nudges that, tell him that maybe he needs to work on his goals as well, and that his one-on-one talk health is average. So he, as an employee, can also initiate a one-on-one talk with his manager as well. So yeah, hopefully this showed you performance management and all of these features. Now I've showed you a full picture, but as a company, of course, you can choose and pick what elements or what features would fit you and your culture the best. Maybe you want just to, start with goal setting. Maybe you want to boost your feedback culture and you want to focus on feedbacks. Maybe you already have all of this, but you want to encourage one-on-one talks because they are really beneficial, and you want to push that feature into Gecko first. It's fully adjustable, and you can put all of these puzzles together in a way that fits you best. Okay, and now I'll hand over to Neil to talk more about feedbacks and those features.
Yes, thank you, Eva, for that overview of our performance module. And now we're gonna show you another feature that can also be a part of our performance module, or it can be used on its own. So let me just share my screen. So we're going to talk about feedback culture. We know that it's really important to enable our employees to receive and share constructive feedback anytime, because stuff happens all the time. We work on different projects, and stuff happens in between those performance talks where the manager used to ask for feedback. So what we've done in the last year in Gecko, we really tried to come up with a feature that would enable that for the employees. So we've built an addition to our feedbacks where we enabled a centralized and simple overview of feedbacks. because we've also expanded those to be always accessible. So as Eva mentioned, we know feedbacks as part of performance talks, where manager used to be the one to request feedback about the employee, but now everybody can do that anytime. So they also need a good way to see those feedbacks, to review them. And as I've mentioned, it's really important to us that the feedbacks are transparent and actually feel more natural, right? So it's not always as structured as it used to be, as we've been used to in the past, but we really want feedbacks to be part of everyday work, just like we've come up with the performance dashboard to make things more part of the everyday life of our employees. So let's take a look of the feedback feature. And we're going to be using Bill again. And as Bill logs in, we can see that we have really prominent buttons already on the home page, always being available for him to ask for feedback or give feedback. And here, basically, we can add our colleagues to provide feedback for us, or in this case, as Eva's mentioned before, Bill is a manager, he can also request feedback for his subordinates. For example, let's use Anne. Bill is really interested in how Anne's work has been recently. We can choose who we want to ask, and we're gonna provide some additional context for the people that we're requesting feedback from. And we can see that we also provide templates for feedback requests, because if we're requesting feedback, we probably have a project or previous work that we've done, and we want to ask some specifics. In this case, we used a manager request since we're asking for our subordinate, and we can also already see what the people who will be providing the feedback, which questions they will receive. And we can see that the request was sent successfully. And how does that look like? I'm showing a different example here that Bill received the request for some feedback. So we can see who we're providing feedback for, we can see who requested it, and we can see what this is about. Once I submit it, the employee sees it and the manager also see it. But how do I view this? So we have this button here, the feedback hub, where I can see the feedback that's provided by others about me, or the feedback that I give, that I already given people. In this case, Bill is viewing his own feedback hub, and we can see what feedback he has received. Also, we have the ability of AI summary that Eva has mentioned before, where AI takes a look at the feedbacks that I'm looking at and provides a summary for me. It also shows what strengths were mentioned or what opportunities to grow. Yeah.
We're still seeing the previous screen.
So. Yes, I'm sorry about that. Thank you, Eva, for telling me that. Yes, so the whole time I was viewing the feedback hub, where I can see the feedback that I received. I can also see the feedback that I have provided in the past. So I sent some feedback to John, some feedback to Samantha, and I can see what I've sent, or I can review what feedbacks I received. I can also see the AI summary, as I've mentioned, with some strengths and opportunities to grow also clearly visible. So this was picked up from the feedback that Anne and John submitted. But if I go back to the homepage, I see that I also have the ability to give feedback. So let's say, for example, that Bill has recently worked on a project with, let's say, Andy, and he said, okay, I have some feedback, I have some good things to point out. I want to make him feel good, but I'll also have some constructive suggestions for our future work, maybe some things that were lacking, and I can click submit, and that employee will be notified, and they will be able to view that feedback. How they are notified, they receive an email, and they also see in their feed that their colleague has provided some feedback, and they can open it, and it actually directs them directly to that feedback that they have received. So they don't need to search for it. But Eva's mentioned before that we also have feedback as part of performance talks. And if we go to Anne's performance talk, we can see that a similar view here also. But in the scope of performance talks, we see those feedbacks that the manager has requested as part of the performance talk, whereas they can also access quickly the feedback hub, where they will see other feedbacks also. So feedbacks that were freely provided to Anne, or feedbacks that she maybe requested for herself as well. So we want to take all of that into account when doing performance talks, right? So yeah, maybe what I've not yet mentioned, as a manager, I can see my subordinates' feedback hubs as well. So Bill, in this case, could review Anne's feedback, and Anne would also be able to view all of these feedbacks. But yeah, the main idea here is for feedback to be accessible anytime and from multiple places in Gecko. And also we have on the performance dashboard, for that similar reason, the feedback widget as well. So here we also see kind of badge that we get based on how good we're at giving and asking for feedback, right? Because we want to encourage our employees to really keep that in mind, that we need to give feedback and we need to request feedback, because that's really important, so that we can grow in our jobs. So yeah, access to the feedback is really simple here. So we can go from the dashboard as well, or from performance talks, or from the employee profile homeboard, anywhere in the system, basically. So that's, I think, all for Feedback Hub. But then we can move on to our next section, which is Setup Wizard. So we've seen that in Gecko we have a lot of processes, a lot of come with some content already defined, like performance talks. We have reflection questions there, or maybe some of you are familiar with our onboarding module, which also comes with predefined checklists. We predefine competencies and stuff like that. And in the past, setup for that has been pretty complex. And in most cases, you needed to contact us to help you set up or make any major changes or stuff like that. But now we're introducing our setup wizard, which really simplifies setup of the content, making the setup itself a lot more guided. It guides you through whatever needs to be set up. It's it helps you stay consistent so that we're not missing categories where we might need them or stuff like that. And it actually allows us to save a lot of time in the setup process itself. And now if I show you in the system for a quick demo. Okay, no, I stopped sharing, sorry. Okay, we're back. So the setup for our performance talk, since this is an admin-led process, so the admin starts it. The administrators also define which questions are used in the reflections. We need to set up that process. And now on the settings section, we have an assignment wizard. What this does, it leads us through the process of assigning all of the relevant content rules in the system, and it makes sure that we have everything before we even start generating the performance talks itself. So if we click Assign Rules, we can see that here it asks us if we know if the rules are ready or not. Otherwise, we can go customize them. And we're gonna go customize them. I just am gonna log out. Just give me a second. So the assignment wizard leads us to Gecko setup. So this is currently available to administrators. And I can see here that we have the rules, the content rules that are then assigned to performance talks. We have multiple different reflection questions available, and we can see that the structure actually only shows us what's relevant. So in this case, we're looking at the reflection questions, and we see the questions, and we see immediately in which section those are going to appear. We can quickly add a new question, or we can reorder those, whatever we might want. Or, for example, competencies as well. Let's say that we have this competency model that has been used this year. We can see the title, the description of the competencies, in which category they are. But in next year, we're planning to maybe change to optimize those competencies. And let's say we're going to create a new rule. But since it's not a completely new competency model, let's say we're just going to clone and just adjust a couple of questions. Let's say this is already preparation for 2026. And we can see that our work is going to be really fast. So we don't need to create everything from scratch. Maybe we just delete a competency and add a new one. For example, and let's say yes, and then I need to add an assignment. Why an assignment? So Gecko allows us to create a whole competency model, but then assign specific competencies to, I don't know, a job position or a specific department. In practice, we know that the sales teams needs a different competency than the developers, right? The communication competencies are probably a lot different in those departments, and we can assign those so that when you create the performance talk, the system checks automatically in which department that employee is or on which job position, and automatically assigns the correct competency to that employee. But in this case, let's say it's relevant for all employees, and that's it. let's say that's all of the changes we're gonna make so far, and then we can go to performance doc cycle and go through the assignment wizard. Here, let's say that we're gonna do a comprehensive reflection. We were able to view the the question set in the setup before. Let's say we reviewed that, and now we can choose the competencies for next year. It gives me a summary, and that's it. The setup has been simplified, so it actually allows administrators to manage the content themselves, to easily adjust it, and to make they can make this happen without asking us for help. Okay, and the last thing, we're gonna look at the employee and manager self-service. So the idea of this is reducing HR workload. So we know that the basis of Gecko is HR administration. This means that the HR admins spend a lot of time just inputting stuff into Gecko, upkeeping the data and stuff like that, where a lot of times it's just employees sending them emails or Slack messages. Hey, I've changed my address. Hey, I've got a new bank account and I need those information changed in the system itself. Now, employee and manager can do that themselves. So it allows employees to submit updates requests, for example, for their personal information, and admins can only review it, and then that system is automatically changed. That data is automatically changed in the system. We also enable managers to manage team-related data, so maybe some job information, salary requests, reward requests, stuff like that for their subordinates. And it allows us to still funnel everything through the HR admin. So instead of administrators just copying everything from the email that the employee sent them, they can just review the data and click confirm, right? And everything is then transferred into the system. And if we take a look at those, we have personal data change. For example, Jack wants to change his bank address, bank account. He doesn't have it. So we're gonna be changing the bank account for Arya. In this case, let's say she deactivated the account yesterday, and today the new one is becoming active. And we can save and submit the form, right? We still want the administrator to come in and double check everything, just review it, see if everything is okay, and then approve it. So if they approve it, right, for Arya, the bank account is automatically, the previous one is closed and a new record is created. So we have that, like I've mentioned before, we have it for bank accounts, we have it for address change, maybe some personal information change, or if I'm the manager, I can also ask to maybe change the salary of my subordinate or to ask for a reward. In this case, let's say we want to give Abigail a reward, a one-time incentive at the amount of 200 euros. And here we have an additional approver in the system that actually confirms this reward request. And it's then, again, it goes through the HR admin for his just an okay, and then the system automatically creates a record of that reward. Maybe to just give you an example of a more complex request, in this case, the manager has requested a job position change for the employee. So we can see the current data. This person used to be a developer, and now they're going to be an office manager. So this really takes the load off the HR admins to just keep track of everything, all of the data, but it gives some power to the employees, to the managers, to actually manage that data themselves. Okay, so from I'm giving back the word to Eva.
Yes, thank you, Neil. Thank you for presenting the feedbacks, the wizards, and those requests. So what I want to basically share now is, you might ask, okay, so how I love what I see. So how can I get that to my Gecko? So a few words about availability. So everything that you have seen so far, it's already available. Some companies are already using it. When it comes to those requests that Nell showed recently, the functionality has been available for quite some time, but as you can see, it got a new look and feel, and also some additional requests are being added. So basically, a general answer is that those features are not enabled automatically, but upon request, they may require an upgrade depending on the version of Gecko you're using, the level of customization you have. So we know that Gecko is fully flexible. So if your performance review is completely different, some tweaks might be needed to get, for example, performance dashboard and so on. But basically, if you like what you see, just contact our sales team, and they will, I'm sure, get back to you soon with a proposal on how to enable those features in your orgs. A few words on what's coming up. So, of course, our team is busy, and we have really clear priorities based on what we hear from you, what we see happening in the world, what are trends in HR, what are the needs, and so on. So on very high level, what we are focusing on now and will be in our roadmap also next year, and maybe even beyond, are those three areas. So advanced analytics. Those of you who know Gecko and are already using it, you know that Gecko comes with a very powerful Salesforce analytics reports, dashboards. But we want to make a step further. So there are additional capabilities to make more advanced dashboards, more, let's say, more complex in terms of insight calculation, but more simple to understand. So we are calling them powerful or advanced analytics, and we are preparing those dashboards for HR leaders and business leaders as well. Second topic is AI, which is something that we are very excited about. We saw some examples already today that are already live, but of course there's more. There's a lot of opportunities in HR world for AI, but we are very picky here. So we are not doing AI for the sake of AI, but really focusing on use cases that would benefit from AI. And the third topic is talent. So we've heard a lot about performance management today, about feedbacks and that space, and we want to continue that story even broader. Really want to focus on features that build talent from within, knowing that it's difficult to get talent from outside. So we really have to work and build on the potential of people that we have already in companies. So there are various tools coming up in that area for managers and employees in terms of career development, succession management, and so on. And another aspect of talent is also recruitment. So getting people and talent from outside. There's been a refresh of recruitment module on our roadmap. So hopefully in 2026, new look and feel of that module with additional features. It's coming your way as well. A few words more on the AI topic, as probably a lot of you are curious about and want to know more about what we are working on. So this purple gecko is what you will see more and more in Gecko. And it also, gives important message that it's one of our core principles as well. We want to build features that you can trust. If you look into the eyes of this purple gecko, hopefully you get a little bit of that feeling. Yeah, trust, transparency, really making sure that we comply with all EU AI acts and make those features secure and basically something that you trust, so that it's not making up answers. It's very important to us. So a few features, feedback summary that was launched, you've already seen today. Currently in the works is a feature in the recruitment area where we want to leverage AI to assess candidates and provide some insights on how well, based on their CV, motivation letter, and data we have about candidates, how well they align with our job opening, so that the recruiters kind of can use that insights for their decisions. Also in works is a chatbot, which will have different capabilities. One is very simple, basically just answering some questions that are easy to answer based on data in Gecko. But then more advanced capabilities come, like, for example, if I want to inform HR that I moved address, chatbot can initiate that request for me and fill it up based on a document or the data that I just typed in. Or maybe a chatbot will help me to read different HR policies, to search through a library of all our policies about salaries, rewards, equipment, and so on, and answer my questions. Or maybe for a little bit more lazy employees and managers, this chatbot will also be able to give me some suggestions. For example, for a manager would be prompted like, hey, you haven't had a one-on-one talk with this and this employee for some time, and there's been bad feedback coming from various employees. I suggest you have a chat with him, and so on. So, and then as analytics is one of important topics for us, a storyteller is something that we are exploring as well. So a nice feature, AI feature, that would translate all of those numbers and metrics into a story that every HR person can easily understand and explain further to business in easy to understand words and stories. So that's just a quick taste of topics that we are working on. But yeah, more to come in that area as well. And that brings us basically to the end of our session. We have still some minutes left for your questions on anything, basically on the features that you've seen or the things that we are working on. So please just type them in Q&A box. And I see that we already have some. So maybe I take those. So there are questions on when will this be available. So all of the features that you've seen in the demo are already available. And you can basically start using them as of now. We just need to enable them in your Gecko, for which please just contact our sales team and they will help you out. And then another question was, firstly, great presentation, and then are these updates are there costs involved, or do we get them for free? So yeah, I cannot give you that answer. It really depends on your situation and Gecko you are using. So if you are using fully standardized Gecko, probably it would be very easy to just turn these features on. If your Gecko is, I would say, customized, so those features don't fit into your story, there might need to be some extra tweaks needed. So really depends, and I would just suggest you to ask our team, and they will give you an answer. The correct answer based on your situation. Any questions? Okay,
We have one more question regarding the survey module and if we're planning on upgrading it in the future. As of now, it's not in the roadmap for 2026, but as all features, of course, the surveys will come to our plan sometime in the future, but we just cannot say at the moment just when. But a good way to put it on our radar for sure.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Then I guess we are out of our time. So thank you for joining us. Hope you liked what you saw. Keep an eye on our social media, where we will present even more features when they come along. And hopefully we will hear from you as well when you start using them. Any feedback is really welcome, so we can improve them even more. Thank you, and yeah, have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.